When you live unfiltered, you don't just survive the chaos that happens around you. You rise up and you step into a lasting success that you have built for yourself. Welcome back to Makamba Unfiltered Conversations. It's been such a powerful season for me, and I hope for you, the Makamba community, as we have had 13 episodes of power packed sessions filled with honesty, with courage, with all kinds of real talk with real people that reminds us that we are not alone on the journey that we are in. And as we close out this season, I would want us to pause and to reflect on what has been discussed on this season in the last couple of episodes. The world around us is getting quite noisier. It's still getting more chaotic. The climate is changing, it's becoming more demanding. It's getting pretty overwhelming. We're seeing a lot happening at the same time. In the last couple of weeks, for instance, into months, we've seen how we've lost quite a number of young people to what could have been avoidable deaths. We've seen people go through so much happening at different times. And everywhere we look, we are still seeing people that are filtering, filters on our screens, filters in our conversations, even in the way that we pursue success. So much filtering is going on. However, the question is, what happens when we dare to live differently? When we choose to show up as our real selves, as raw, unedited, unfiltered human beings. So that's what today's conversation is about. Today's conversation is about unfiltered and unstoppable, choosing authentic success in a filtered world. And trust me, this is the perfect way to wrap up this season of Makamba Unfiltered Conversations. I'm not going to be alone on this journey. I'm going to be inviting someone whose face is no longer new on Makamba Unfiltered Conversations. She has appeared as a guest before, and she's also doing quite a bit behind the scenes as well on Makamba. So I'd like to invite Naomi Egboh to join me on the set so that she would be part of this conversation that we want to have. So Naomi, please join me on the set. Thank you for joining me again. When I had the original intent of this particular episode was to actually go solo, and I remember I just had this chat with you, and if you remember, I kept giving you a lot of thinking signs, and it was like, what if, which is why I said, dare to live differently, which is one of the things I said earlier. What if I just decide to tweak it by myself and try to do something a bit more different? So the conversation today, as we wrap up, it's been you know, um, a whole lot for Makamba on this podcast for this last episodes, and we've gone, which I'm sure you're going to recap for us. We've been through quite a bit, and I would like you to just do a bit of recap of, what it is that we've had.
Okay, as we all know, it's called Makamba, the Unfiltered Conversations. And reflecting back on all the episodes we have, I can really say that we really had unfiltered conversations and we had authentic people here in the studio with us. For me, the one that got stuck with me was Dr. Ifeanyi when he mentioned
That got stuck with a lot of
kings,
people.
yeah, kings are made from trenches. And Dr. Ifeanyi is unfiltered. He tells a story about how he was a houseboy. Listening to his story, you understand that not a lot of people will come out and open their background, where they're from, the things they went through. And seeing him write on on LinkedIn, I'm like, wow. So he is unfiltered. He says it as it is. He is authentic with his story. And another episode for me will be the lady that spoke about not having a father figure. Not everybody can come out to say that because we all want to say, oh, I'm a daddy's girl, I'm a daddy's girl. While back home, we know what's going on, but she's coming out to say she didn't have this father figure with her. She longed for it, and she went into that space where she had a conversation with God, and He told her what to do and how to handle that situation. And most of us, even having father figures at home, some of us are still not all right. But yeah, this is
I like the way
someone.
you put it. All
Yeah,
right.
this is someone without a father
That's so
figure.
Nigerian.
Yeah, she rose again above her situation, and she's doing well. Talking about being authentic again and unfiltered, it's you talking about your younger self. Speaking
That
about the
episode.
mistakes, yes, you made in the past and how you were able to um, overcome everything, and also talking about the corporate world. And
Yeah.
I would not forget your conversation about having a meeting with men and they wanted you to go fix tea for them. I know some of us will feel, okay, let me just fix the tea so that they'll like us. But you stood your ground and said, hell no, fix your tea. And that is you being your authentic self and no apologies.
No apologies.
Yeah, so for me, there are a whole lot of interesting, probably while we're here, I would remember some episodes, but this season has been fantastic. And a friend of mine said to me, she watched one of the episodes and she said, oh, I have learned to forgive myself. Like, okay, good thing you're learning something from it. So yeah.
Yeah, so that's really what the impact is supposed to be, you know. Like you said, the lady with that, I mean, Esther Moluku, who came to talk about, you know, when she was sharing some of her tips, you know, and she said one of the, you know, tips she was leaving for the younger women out there or anyone going through something was to learn to forgive themselves. So the thing is, we live in a world where filters are everywhere. So much filters. The filters now are just, I mean, our phones have not helped us. So filters now are not just on our photos, but on our words, you know, our choices, our dreams. And I always tell people, I'm a very expressive person. I'm not the kind of person that, you know, knows how to bottle things. So I say them as they are. So Makamba Unfiltered Conversation is not a package. It's the real deal, you know. So, you know, we filter how we show up because we fear judgment. You know, we filter how our ambitions are. I had Jumoke come and talk about, you know, love versus ambition on the show as well. Because we expect other people to like us. You know, I was having a conversation with someone, you know, and I said the worst thing you can do to yourself is to live your life expecting everybody to like you. That is actually a DOA for you from day one. Okay. And it's you know, there's something I used to say when I was still working 9 to 5. You are not my friend at work. You are an acquaintance. I come to work to work. And when I'm done, I leave and I go home. I already know where, you know, I place every other person and all that. So if you come to work with the intention that we've come to form in an inner caucus, that again is DOA. So there's so much filter. We filter our voices. We're not heard because we're afraid to be misunderstood. You understand? And without realizing it, life suddenly becomes a performance. You are now on a stage doing some Shakespearean play, you know, or some Nollywood thing, as the case may be, you know. So you are polished on the outside, but on the inside, you're completely empty. You know, and that can really be it can be a dangerous place to be, you know. So I mean,
Yeah, and I think we also filter our jobs.
yeah,
And we come out to put up a picture like I'm this, I'm that. The whole, yeah, it's good to hype yourself, but in all sincerity, are you this person? Because you might be put in a situation where you have to live up to expectation and you see yourself messing yourself up. So there are a whole lot of filters. And it's like you mentioned, it's so bad right now because people are not being authentic anymore.
it's so hard to find real people.
People
true
are not being
people.
authentic anymore. And that can lead to a whole lot of damages done to you,
It's happening.
to your work, to your relationship, and all of that. Being your authentic self draws people to you. Being your authentic self gives you a room to show the world who you really
truly
are.
yes.
It helps with your business, it helps with your job, it helps with your relationship with people, your spouse. It's important to be authentic. And with the amount of filtering we have right now in the society, it is difficult to find authentic people. It's
You know,
difficult.
so living authentic is or authentic or living unfiltered, you know, is different. It takes a lot of courage. It's a decision that you need to show up as your full self,
Yeah.
not as what people expect of you, but as your full self. A world, the world right now wants everyone to wear a mask. They want you to wear a mask. So I say to people, unfiltered doesn't mean being reckless. Unfiltered doesn't mean, not being who you are, but it actually means being truthful. Who are you really? Choosing purpose over pretense, substance over appearances. You understand? Alignment over applause. People prefer to be applauded than to align, with what is happening right now. And it's really sad, because you want to do something, or you want to be upset about something, and somebody is saying, no, don't be upset about it. And why would I not be upset about it? Why am I supposed to be packaging how I feel? Why am I supposed to be living something that I'm not? Depending, it doesn't matter the moment, the time, whatever that situation is. So we live in a world of, a world that loves performance, a world that says polish your flaws, package it, arrange your flaws, make it look nice and dandy and shiny. You understand? Hide your scars. On the episode with the lady with, that we talked about, the father figure and all that. And I said to her that I have so many stories I need to tell. There are portions of my life that are broken into different stories. The channel is what I haven't, made up my mind which channel to use. Like I said to her, it could be the Makamba podcast, it could be a book, it could be being on a stage, public speaking, and make it clear, so that everything doesn't look like it's perfect, because it is not perfect, and the need to start to actually live unfiltered. It is so clear, and it takes a lot of courage, and you have to be ready. You need to show up whole. Show up whole is so important. Show up whole, show up in your truth, show up in your strength, show up in your struggles, and like I always say, without apology. Without apology. I don't know if you have something you want to add.
Yes,
before, I continue.
Yes, I would also refer back to Dr. Ifeanyi, and I'll say practical steps to be unfiltered, like him. I would always use him as a reference point. I think in his story, he was true to himself. Yes, he understood his core values, and he stood by that. Like he said in one of his write-ups, he said he's unashamed to be a Jesus boy, isn't he? He puts God first. Dr. Ifeanyi will say that this is who he is.
Yeah.
He calls himself a local boy from so and so
Yeah.
place, and he knows his values, and he held on to that.
Yeah.
And when you know your core values, that helps you to be filtered. You're not unfiltered. You're not conforming to
Yeah.
what society wants you to be.
I completely agree with you. I don't think any guest on my show has not used the word noisy in describing what the world is. World is so noisy.
Yeah.
But I learned something from one of the guests we had on the show, Mr. Odo, if I'm not mistaken, where he said you are either a signal or you are noise. That was resoundingly deep for me. Where he said you're either a signal, and if you're a signal, you have to make impact.
Yeah.
You can't just be a signal and you're just roaming around. You have to be signal that makes impact. So when you strip away all the filters and you find your unique voice, a voice that the world desperately needs to hear. And that's how, Makamba was birthed. Makamba was a voice that the world needed to hear. You understand? And Makamba could, so when I started Makamba, for instance, when the season started, Makamba came out with the first 3 episodes, which was solo. And the reason why that was that way was because it was a whole me that I was bringing to the show. I was bringing to the show a completely unfiltered person. I was saying to the Makamba community, whatever else you see from here is unfiltered. I'm not going to be bringing guests who are going to come and package. I was going to bring guests who were whole in themselves. So it was whole me saying, you know what, I've made mistakes. I'm putting myself out there and I've made mistakes, I've had feedback from some of these episodes that say you need to redo this. My younger self, I've heard,
I could relate to that.
Dr. Ifeanyi, they've even carved out a portion of where they want him to concentrate. So I should bring him back and all that, and then comes success. You understand? Not the filtered kind of success, not the, that looks good on Instagram, that feels hollow. So when people see it, it feels very hollow, But when the cameras are off, I'm talking about real success. I'm talking about real time success. I'm saying the kind that comes from the resilience you've built, the type that comes from the discipline that you've built, the type that comes from living aligned, you understand, with your calling. What is your calling? You're living aligned with it, the kind that makes you sleep peacefully at night, and you're not wondering who is tapping you at the back and saying, hey, this success that you achieved, it seems like it has small K leg to it or something,
True.
because you're building something. You're actually building something that matters. And for me, Makamba is something that matters. We're wrapping up season 1 today, but I have like God knows how many millions of people are standing out to say they want to be guests, in Makamba. I'm like, but I'm already wrapping up season 1, you're running your own race, you're running it with integrity, with discipline, with faith, Success is not in competing with someone else, Don't filter the journey. It's not in competing with someone else. Yes, it's not showing your highest reel of who I've become. It's running your race. It's your race. It's your race. Nobody can run that race any better than you. Running your race with consistency, running your race with integrity, with faith, refusing to shrink your dreams, finding people who align with your dreams along the way. You're not fitting into anybody's comfort zone. You are showing up daily, you're grinding daily, you're staying unfiltered daily, you're staying undiluted daily, you're staying unstoppable daily. You're who you are. What you see is what you get.
And in all of the success, we shouldn't forget that there are times we fail, and failure doesn't mean that we have lost it. So it's important that when we fail, we come back, we pick ourselves up, and we strive to become better. So that is also being unfiltered. Because you see the people who filter, they say they don't fail, they get this done, they get that done easily. But when you are unfiltered, you know that, yes, there are times where I fail, but you're not giving up. You're getting back up and you're doing it again and again.
I think we've talked about it in quite a number of episodes to say, what failure is. And I think when we also had Mr. Odu on the show, we also said failure is perception. How do you see it? Failure is perception. Is it fueling you to get back up and run again, or is it caging you and weighing you down? So it's actually, how do you see failure? You understand which path are you threading? When you see failure. So I'm saying to the Makamba family, that as we close this season of Makamba Unfiltered, here is my challenge to you, to the Makamba community. 1, please drop the filters that no longer serve you. There's so much going around. There are so many filters that people are carrying around and packaging. Drop the filters that no longer serve you. Number 2, stop shrinking your dreams to fit other people's comfort zones. I've always been seen to be, in some cases, some sort of a radical, because whether I was doing 9 to 5 or I'm currently doing my own thing, I do not, my dreams, I don't, because the way visions are given are different. Okay. And I cannot start to fit my own dream to fit into your comfort zone. It is my dream. It is my idea. It is my vision. So people need to learn to stop saying, you know what, it's happening like this with everybody, so let me do it like that. That's how everybody is doing it. That's the Nigerian climb. Yeah, that's conformity. And people need to learn to, and then dare to live boldly. It's so important. Boldly, truthfully, unapologetically. Unfiltered. That's how I actually do live. Unapologetically. As long as whatever it is that's been done, it's been done legally. Do you understand? Then leave it unapologetically, because I think I posted something on my status someday, and I said, 1 life, 1 chance. That's what you have. You have 1 life, 1 chance. What are you doing with your 1 life, 1 chance? How are you spending that whole time conforming to what other people are saying, being worried about what is being said about you? I for the love of me, my late sister used to say, allow people to talk about you, because that's how you are important. So it's so important to know how you living unapologetically, because the world doesn't need a perfect you. The world doesn't need a perfect version of you. It needs the real you. And when you live unfiltered, when you actually live unfiltered, you don't just survive the chaos that happens around you. You rise up and you step into a lasting success that you have built for yourself. And it's really amazing that, a lot of people are still living that kind of life, and not. So, Naomi, what would you say to that? What would you add to that?
Um, Being your unfiltered self, you have no idea the courage you're giving to someone. People are looking up to you
Yeah.
and seeing that, oh, if this person can behave this way without conforming or without the fear of being judged, then why can't I? And that
Yeah.
is success. A friend called me yesterday, day before yesterday, and she says, oh, I'm clocking 35. I have not done this, I've not done that. I'm like, excuse you? I'm going to be 40 in like a few months and I'm not doing this. And she said, no, now we don't go there. You've done this, you're able to do this. I'm like, okay, so you're looking up to me. I have no idea. Someone was like, oh, wow, you've been able to achieve this. And I wasn't seeing that of myself. I wasn't seeing that aspect of Naomi. Was somebody else was seeing that for me. But I was also trying to tell her, girl, you have time. We're alive, and don't be pressured with the likes on social media.
Yeah.
Don't be pressured with what is happening around.
Yeah.
We will get there.
Yeah.
We will get there.
Yeah, we will.
Slow and steady, but we will get there. So far, we're not giving up. So
That's
far,
it. Don't
we
quit.
are
My
not.
two favorite words.
Yeah.
Don't quit.
And so far, we are still alive. We're not
Yeah.
dead. So when we're dead, we know it's over. But we're alive. We will hustle and we'll get there. So that's
True
it.
that. It's well spoken. Well spoken. So, for me, it's been an incredible ride with season 1 of Makamba Unfiltered Conversations. Quite an incredible ride.
Yeah.
I want to thank my audience, everyone who views Makamba, those who drop their thoughts, those who show up, authentically for every episode, those who leave reviews, who leave comments, those who don't even leave comments but go behind and give me their comments, or what they think about the episodes as they come. They've all made this journey really, really powerful. They've made the journey real. They've made the journey deeply inspiring. It's been such a great time that I have had, because I've had to be, across all 13 episodes, to the studio that made this happen, to every guest who brought, their truth to the table. I want to say, thank you for making season 1 unforgettable. So we are coming back with season 2. We're just getting started. Season 2 will definitely be coming in the new year. It's part of our package in the new year. We're not sure at what point season 2 will birth, but it's going to be bolder, because I've already written down, God knows, the tremendous things for season 2 already. It's going to be bolder, it's going to be deeper, and even more unfiltered. It might shock people. Season 2 can full blow into a talk show. Yeah, it's part of the things that, we're looking at for Makamba, to full blow into a talk show, packed with authentic conversations that, the Makamba community doesn't want to miss. So I would want to say that if you haven't already subscribed, like, share, turn on your notifications, because when season 2 drops, you want to be the first to know. So Naomi, what will be your last words before I close out?
For me, I'll say be real, be authentic, and live an unfiltered life. Life is too short
that's kind of our wrap up.
Yeah.
So I think we've kind of brought you into it. So it's actually also been a great ride. When I decided to tweak this, I was somewhere and I was listening to something, and that's how that tweak came, and that's how I started to have that conversation with you, and I said, you know what, this was supposed to be me, starting me, ending me, but hey, life is full of surprises.
You're not conforming.
No, I'm a very unusual person. Anybody who knows me knows that I can be very unusual. I am Enobong. I am unusual.
Yeah.
Unusually Enobong. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna bring a tweak to it. No rehearsals. Just keep it real. Keep it unfiltered. So as I leave, I'd like to leave the Makamba community with these parting words. Unfiltered is not just a style. It's a way of life, and it's a foundation on which true greatness is built. Authenticity births success, so keep living, loving, and showing up unfiltered. And authenticity is, the foundation of every true success that is built. You need to build on that. so that you can rise, you can shine, and you can continuously be who you really are. Not what somebody says you should be, not what somebody says you are, not what somebody says is supposed to be you. So, as we close out season 1 of Makamba Unfiltered Conversations, of which I have been humbled to have been the host across the 13 episodes, I'd like to say thank you to the Makamba community, to the audience, and to everyone who's come together to ensure that we're continuously, staying on. Everyone who's worked behind the scenes, all the guests who have come in, all the work that has gone in, all the stress that has gone in. I'd like to say stay real, stay bold, stay unfiltered. The world needs the real you, not the unfiltered you. So as we sign out of Makamba, again, I say keep it raw, keep it real, keep it unfiltered. Until we come your way in season 2, take care and make sure, watch all 13 episodes. You'll be glad you did and you will thank me later. This is Enobong signing out. See you in season 2. Thank you.